the NFL has released a list of the top quarterbacks from the 2023 season. Now, it's not 32 quarterbacks, but you would think 32 teams, 32 quarterbacks. But as you know, I think that this season broke records for how many, was it rookie starting quarterbacks? I think it was something like that.
I believe so.
There was over 66 quarterbacks that took a start this year, which is pretty insane. When you think about it. That's basically more than 2 quarterbacks per team. Totally insane. Christ. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go down the list. Now I can see the answers, but you, however, can't.
Cheater.
Well, I'm not playing. I'm
cheating, son of a bitch. No,
you're the one that's on the stand here. So, Rick, who was the number 1 quarterback in the NFL this year?
Okay, so I kind of just want to wait because this was a surprise. What does it mean to be the number 1 quarterback, I guess? Like, are we talking stats? Are we talking just like, hey, a bunch of writers pick these guys as the best? Is it is it stats driven, or like what are we talking about here? Wins?
Okay, so 66 quarterbacks recorded a start, including one for 2 different teams. A season that seemed to include an unusual amount of bad injury luck under center, that is, until a quick look back at last year's rankings revealed 68 quarterbacks. So this is going to be rankings. So we're talking QBR, we're talking accuracy, passing yards, touchdowns, team wins, maybe. But mostly, this is if you remove everything, who was playing the quarterback position the best, and the stats would back it up to go in this order.
So the number 1, I want to lean Lamar, but I think it's a Super Bowl quarterback. And it's not the one everyone's thinking. I think it's Brock Purdy at number 1.
Ooh, Brock Purdy. Well, do you want me to tell you the answers as we go?
No, I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. That's it.
Okay, wrong.
Damn it. Okay. Then are we thinking? Then I guess I got to go Mahomes then.
It is also not Mahomes.
Fuck. Lamar.
Bingo.
Oh, okay.
66.5% or completion percentage, over 1,000 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions, almost 1,000 rushing yards, though 975, and 7 rushing touchdowns, but 12 fumbles, which is a lot. So the writer said, I'm not going to bury Jackson because of one bad outing in the team's most important game of the season. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken did Jackson precisely 0 favors with how he called the game.
Yeah.
And he goes into why he lands here. But the high points landed in the stratosphere, and the timing which they occurred couldn't have been more beneficial to his MVP case. The voters agreed, awarding Jackson the top honor for the 2nd time in his career. The only downside to this was the fashion in which him and his team exited the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it goes on to say, don't forget about how he played in the divisional round, almost single-handedly tucked the Texans into their off-season beds with his arm and legs, which is true. That Texans game was a blowout.
Yep.
But do you agree with that one? Lamar at number 1?
I guess. I feel like this is just kind of the MVP vote. Like, who won the MVP vote is the best quarterback. The best at the quarterback position. I don't know, man. It just seems like it's going off MVPs. Do I agree with that? Was Lamar Jackson probably the most important player on the Ravens? Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with it, because if you have a really good defense and a pretty subpar quarterback, I think you can make your way through not only the season, but a couple playoff games, if you aren't the number 1 seed like the Ravens were. But if you got a guy like Lamar, that just makes your entire team a Super Bowl contender. It's different from having a Super Bowl contending defense to a Super Bowl contending team in general. So I like it, and that's why he won the MVP, number one quarterback overall. I'm a little iffy on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the MVP award, not to get into this conversation, but I think it should include the playoffs. Now, I don't think that it has to be limited to the playoffs. I just think it should be added because I think at this point in the season, we would all agree that Patrick Mahomes was the most valuable player on any team. I mean, he took a team that had a 15th ranked offense and won the Super Bowl. I mean, it doesn't get much more valuable than that. I mean, that's all they had.
I was gonna say I would agree with that, but then it's kind of like if you do start to get into that, it's similar to what we're saying about the MVP award now. It's like the best quarterback on the number one team in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. If you add the playoffs and the Super Bowl in that, it's going to go to the Super Bowl winning quarterback. I feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's who it would go to at the end of the day.
But I don't think it should because like the only reason I'm saying this about Mahomes is because of the team that he had and the fact that he won the Super Bowl with them. I mean, I
agree. Yeah.
That to me was like I said before the game, it will be his most impressive ring, and it is. I mean, what he did is just exceptional. It's different. It's what these awards are made for. But no, I don't think that it has to go to the Super Bowl MVP or the Super Bowl winning team's quarterback necessarily. There's plenty of times where I would have given Jalen Hurts the MVP last year, and Patrick Mahomes won that game.
Yeah.
So, it could go different ways, but all right, this one I know you're not going to get. I don't know if you'll agree with it.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this. In 2018, this quarterback was ranked 32nd. In 2019,
okay,
he was ranked 18th. And in the last 3 years, he's been ranked top 5.
Last 3 years, he has been ranked top 5. I am going to go Josh Allen.
Yes.
Oh, fuck yeah. Let's go,
Josh
baby.
Allen. Allen's season ended in disappointing fashion, but let's not forget how eager everyone was to bury the Bills when they were 6-6. Allen was hurt. McDermott was losing his edge, and Buffalo's title window was closing until it wasn't. The path to the postseason didn't include much dominance, but it afforded Allen to get right. And by the time he reached the playoffs, he was in vintage form. His 52-yard touchdown run against Pittsburgh was so electric, it inspired a week of debate over whether he'd faked a slide or just awkwardly landed. Or do you remember that? Where they were like, was that a fake slide?
Dude, Josh Allen has been not knowing how to slide for his entire career.
Yeah. Why would you ever assume that he's sliding? Yeah. So he went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, giving the Bills a chance to win even after Stephon Diggs dropped an incredible pass late in the game. This season wasn't a smooth ride for Allen, but we've reached 2024 with all of our questions regarding the quarterback having been answered. All that's left to figure out is how the Bills might adjust their approach to further maximize his rare talents in the year ahead. And that is Josh Allen coming in at number 2. Surprising?
Yes, but I also look at like the halfway mark and how like he turned it on. You know what I mean? Like he went from that first half of the season where we're like, dude, you're not going to go to the Super Bowl like this to, okay, Josh Allen and the Bills can go to the Super Bowl, right? Like that's how kind of quickly it turned in a half a season, really. So I'm not totally surprised. I think Lamar Jackson to me is still kind of surprising, but Josh Allen, top 3. I could see top 3.
All right. So I just wanted to do 1, 2, and 3 with what the writer had to say. But from 4 on, we'll go a little quicker. So who do you got at number 3?
Oof. I think number 3, I don't think it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, I just don't think it is. Number 3, I'm gonna go with a wild card here. I'm gonna go CJ Stroud at number 3.
Ooh, no, number 3 was Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Mahomes ended the regular season just barely cracking the top 10 after a campaign in which Kansas City's lack of elite talent at receiver became a glaring issue. Because of this, Mahomes labored through most of 2023, never truly threatening to win MVP and finishing with his second fewest passing yards of his career. But the all-world quarterback's rare beauty returned in the playoffs, where he and the Chiefs put together a strong showing in a wildcard win over Miami, defeated Josh Allen's Bills, and went on to pull off an upset over the Ravens in the AFC Championship. As per usual, Mahomes saved his best for last, leading a couple of crucial scoring drives in the Super Bowl that required him to pick up first downs in essential spots to preserve the Chiefs' chances of victory. When he threw his game-winning touchdown pass to Mecole Hardman, we found ourselves in a familiar place with our jaws on the floor, thanks to the magic of Mahomes.
I love it. I love
in
it.
at number 3.
Mahomes
Yeah, I
at
can
number
see
3.
that one. I mean, honestly, like, the writer is clearly considering the postseason because they're talking about the postseason. Honestly, if that is the case, then Mahomes, he might be at 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why, again, like, the whole Lamar Jackson at number 1 to me was, yes, he was the MVP, but are we talking best quarterbacks or MVP of the team at this point, right? Because Mahomes was very important to his team as well. One of the better quarterbacks. I feel like he was still in a down year, and let's not take away from the fact that his receivers were really letting him down and they don't really turn it on into the playoffs, a la fucking Travis Kelce. So I don't want to take anything away from his abilities. It's just that his receivers were letting him down. So to me, it just felt like he wasn't necessarily the best quarterback, at least a top 3, maybe a top 6 or 7. But at number 3, kind of a surprise.
All right. Well, at number 4, I absolutely love to see it because this is a quarterback that I believe is criminally underrated. And in 2018, he was ranked 7th, but every other season he was ranked 15 or lower. But here he is now. Last year he was 8th, actually. So here he is now at 4, which is the highest this quarterback has ever made on the chart. Who is this quarterback?
Is it what was that?
Somebody honking outside.
I was like, I felt like they were like, hurry up. I'm watching. Oh God. Number 4. This is the highest they've been on here. Oh my God. Fuck it. Brock Purdy.
Not Brock Purdy. Now keep in mind,
this
quarterback has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons.
Oh, 7 seasons. Sorry. Oof. God. Is it an NFC or AFC?
Do I want to give that clue away? NFC.
NFC. Do I want to give that clue away? Oof.
It's like Guess Who?
God damn it.
Does
Yeah.
I have glasses.
Yeah, probably.
Does he have hair?
God, I am trying to think. Best quarterbacks, top 10 best quarterbacks in 23, 7 seasons. I don't know, man. I got nothing right now. I don't know why I'm blanked right now.
Jared Goff.
The
season was absolutely awesome for Goff, and I think he finally is where he should be. Like, he's been at 7, he's been at 8. Last year he was at 8, but this does feel kind of like a comeback because in 2021 he was at 23, then he was at 22, then he was at 20. So he had that Super Bowl push in 2018 and finished 7. So he had a better season this year than he did when he took his team to the Super Bowl. And his numbers this year were pretty incredible. 5,412 passing yards, 7.6 yards per attempt, 34 passing touchdowns, only 12 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns, only 7 fumbles in 20 games. I think Jared Goff is not somebody that Detroit needs to talk about moving off of, like I've been hearing in the last couple, like, oh, do they move off Jared Goff? No. No, because like we talked about that with Brock Purdy, where it was like, if this team is so good and Brock can't get them to win the Super Bowl, do they move off Brock? But Brock didn't have, well, he did have good numbers, but Jared Goff just plays the quarterback position. When I watch him play and watch Brock Purdy, I saw Jared Goff look better. I mean, Jared Goff, he was a sniper in all the playoff games, and he didn't choke. Like the pressure, he was so comfortable. In the Tampa game, he looked awesome. In the first playoff game, I forget who their first game was. Oh, the Rams. He went back and forth with Matthew Stafford. Like Jared Goff, to me, proved that he might be a overall top 7 quarterback in the league. And I'm not shocked that he's here at 4, but that's his best season ever.
Yeah.
And number 5.
Yep. Sorry. No, I was just going to say Jared Goff, like it's surprising to me that he is at 4. It's the highest that he's been, but no, you're right. The numbers were there. And again, I go back to when we were talking about him in like the week 4 or something, and how he's had ridiculous numbers up until that point for like a full season worth of games, and how his numbers were just like amazing, and how it was a ridiculous thought last season to be like, should they move on from Goff? Is he going to get them to the Super Bowl? He got him to the NFC Championship, right? Like that's for the numbers that he had. It's amazing. So a little surprised is at 4, but when you really do look at the numbers over the last couple seasons with the Lions, it really shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, and I think there's a realistic chance that he gets even better next year. Ben Johnson not leaving, another draft, which we know that they're right now the hottest drafting team. Yeah, like Jared Goff, the best is yet to come. I really do think that with him. And number 5, I won't make you guess. It was the guy that he went back and forth with in that first playoff game.
With
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford, yeah.
Matthew Stafford. In year 15, this guy is at number 5.
Insanity.
And last year he was at 22. But the year before, he was at 5 when they won the Super Bowl. And then he was like 13, 9. It only goes back to 2013, but this is his best season since winning the Super Bowl. And when you look at it, even though the Rams didn't win the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford was also not on the field for all of the games. Like he was injured. He started 16 games, but he was hurt for a large portion of the season. And I know we have, I don't know if it was Crafty, but somebody made a joke like, Stafford's hurt. He's about to ball out, which is such an interesting thing about him that whenever he is a little bit injured. But really, I think the most impressive thing that is on Matthew Stafford's resume this year is the development of Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
You know, Puka Nacua obviously had a historic rookie season, but you don't have that without the quarterback. I mean, I like Jerry Jeudy, right? We haven't had like a strong quarterback position, so it's hard to evaluate if he's really good or not, even though he was highly drafted and Puka Nacua wasn't. It just brings more of an emphasis on what Matthew Stafford did for Puka Nacua. And then to get that offense, one of the hottest offense in the league, especially at the end of the season, the Rams, we were talking about a dark horse playoff team. And that's because of the way Matthew Stafford was playing quarterback and the receivers that he was able to get the most out of, like all of the great quarterbacks do, like Tom Brady. It could be Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. It doesn't matter. Amendola, like great quarterbacks will make receivers look even better than they already are, which isn't to say that Puka Nacua is not great, but Matthew Stafford made him look like the greatest rookie wide receiver we've ever seen. So yeah, I like Stafford at 5. Do you have any problem with it?
No, especially and the fact that he's at 5, a top 5 quarterback in a season with missing time is actually pretty goddamn impressive when you look at it. Like you said, like you mentioned, Puka Nacua, he already had that relationship with Cooper Kupp. Like the fact that he was able to do that, on a year where no one was expecting the Rams to do anything at all. Like we were looking at, 49ers and Seahawks probably going to, be the top 2 in that NFC West. And the Rams came out of nowhere and we're like, kind of like what Crafty said, oh yeah, our quarterbacks are, but watch this real quick, right? Watch the latter half of the season and watch us win games and, as this many games in a row, beat teams that we're not supposed to beat and do it who was a 5th rounder or 7th rounder and have a guy, Kyron Williams, who was a late round running back. Watch us do this. And it's just like, wow, that's impressive. And again, with the Puka Nacua thing, he's a very talented receiver. And no, I'm not going to take any credit from him. And then you add the fact that Matthew Stafford is throwing in the ball, and you're just like, well, of course, this guy's definitely going to succeed there. So Matthew Stafford at 5, not that surprising. And the only surprising is that he's a little bit higher than what I expected with the time missed.
Yeah. And he has, he was in year 15 going into year 16. So he has this year, next year, and then maybe one more year, or Manning retired at 18 seasons. So you may see a fast decline. I think for Manning, it happened in 1 year, but he is at that age where he might only have 1 or 2 more of these type seasons left in him. And I think he wants to get 1 more Super Bowl ring before he's done. And the way he played last year, if that is going to be a continuation going into next year, I think it's totally possible.
Yeah, his defense needs to get better. That's for sure, though.
Yeah. At number 6, this quarterback I thought had a very, very, very good season. But unfortunately for him, it's going to get completely lost in his career because of the way the postseason went. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Baker.
Not Baker.
Not Baker.
I would say the opposite about Baker. Baker had a good postseason.
Yeah. Joe Flacco?
Not Joe Flacco.
Fuck. NFC. Jordan Love.
Not Jordan Love. It'll be somebody that could have won MVP throughout the whole season.
Oh, Dak Prescott. Yeah.
Yeah, for the majority of 2023, he played at an MVP level. And CeeDee Lamb and him had a historically great connection. And yeah, I think Dak Prescott, who had 287 rushing yards, which is kind of an underrated part of his game, but that's a lot of rushing yards. You look at Matthew Stafford, he has 65. You look at Jared Goff, he had 24 on the season. Patrick Mahomes had 530, including the postseason. So Dak Prescott, not really a runner, but he's also not completely stationary. He will take off, and it's just something that gets forgotten maybe about his game a little bit, but almost 5,000 passing yards, 39 passing touchdowns, 11 picks. He had a hell of a season. He might have won that the top award that we were talking about, the MVP, if the Green Bay game didn't go like that. I know they say that it's not a postseason award, but even the writers, even the guys that work for NFL as journalists wrote it. This is exactly what they said. Mike McCarthy's decision to appoint himself as play caller worked because Prescott executed. And if it weren't for 3 truly deadfall outings, week 5, San Francisco, week 15, Buffalo, and super wild card weekend against Green Bay, he just might have won the league's top award.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, even the journalists are mentioning it. These guys work for them. So,
Yeah, and it does suck because like because I was listening, I was actually thinking about Dak in the shower. No, I'm just kidding. Earlier today as I was driving back from work, because they were saying like you have a lot of like Hall of Fame, very like elite type of quarterbacks who didn't win a Super Bowl like way later into their career. We're talking about, almost double digit seasons, right? And even into double digit seasons where they didn't win one. And Dak might just be unlucky in that sense where he is a pretty damn good quarterback and he may one day be an elite type of quarterback when it's all said and done. It just might be more time. That's literally it. It just might be more time. Like you said, he was having an MVP type season. We even mentioned it, and I believe you brought it up in one of the weekly episodes or like after a very good primetime game that he had. You're like, why aren't people talking about? Or you were saying like, Dak Prescott is an MVP. Like right here, right now, he is an MVP. And for the most part, at that point, yes, absolutely was. It's just they say that they don't take the playoffs into consideration for MVP award. But it just seemed like he crumbles at like the absolute worst moments. And that sucks for him because you have a regular season that's full of great offense, great defense, and then you get to the playoffs and you just fucking turn into Butterfingers and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like he kind of lost. Like the way they lost to Green Bay, nobody will remember anything this season besides that, and that's totally the truth.
Yeah.
Especially with the Cowboys' history that going into that game. I mean, that was like the one thing they couldn't do.
They're like, please not Green Bay. Please not fucking Green Bay.
All right, number 7. I'll give you a hint. Okay. He's a system quarterback.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy.
He's a game manager.
5,054 passing yards, 34 passing touchdowns, 12 picks, 218 rush yards, which is
okay,
about 60 less than Dak. The Skiller system debate may have prevented you from thinking straight regarding Purdy, but allow me to simplify this for you. In the most trying pivotal moments of the season, Purdy repeatedly delivered. I agree. I think Brock Purdy definitely deserves to be in the top 10. I mean, just look at how his team performed throughout all the season besides that weird 3-game stretch.
Yeah.
You can call him whatever you want, but as long as you agree he's a top 10 quarterback. At number 8, oh, I love this one.
Real quick before you get on, I like this comment by Bill. Not on the list. The guy that called him a system quarterback, Cam Newton.
No, he's next. He's next.
Oh, he's not. He's number 8.
Number 8. If Cam was on the list, he would be an older quarterback, a veteran quarterback. So this guy's the opposite of that.
I'm going. I gotta go CJ Stroud, right?
CJ Stroud.
There we go.
Number 8 quarterback, 15 games, 64 completion percentage, over 4,000 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns, 5 picks. Stroud just kind of flourished as soon as he got to Houston. And I think if you really look at just the quarterback position in general, like there was a point in the season where CJ Stroud was not up for Rookie of the Year or Offensive Player of the Year, but he was up for MVP, which is insane. I don't know if a rookie's ever won MVP before, but Stroud,
I'll look that up.
Stroud had a pretty good case for it. I mean, when I think we mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but it matters what the expectations are going into the year. And for the Texans, the expectations were to win 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 tops. And they ended up beating out straight up the Jaguars for the division, hosting a playoff game, winning that playoff game as an underdog. And yeah, eventually they got beat in Baltimore. But this is just the beginning. And for CJ Stroud, it does feel like he's only going to make his way higher on this list in the next couple of years.
Oh, 100%. And to answer your question, only Jim Brown has been a rookie who won MVP. So did Jim Brown the only rookie to ever win NFL MVP? And you're 100% correct. Like, he's going to make his way up, and he will stay on this list, in my opinion, probably throughout his career until he starts to kind of, just get old and unable to look, the Peyton Manning effect, Matthew Stafford when he kept getting injured, things like that. Like, I think he's going to be up there in that list for the near future, like 100%. The way he played as a rookie, the way he plays with that, I want fans to be proud of the Houston Texans name. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they are proud to wear Texans gear. Like, that's tough to instill into a quarterback when they go to a team. It is, because sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Some people don't have the same mindset. They just want to build stats. They want to win Super Bowls. Instead, this guy is starting off at the very base level of saying, I want to make this team so good that fans on the street feel good about wearing Texans gear. So with that attitude, man, it's a great like a foundation to start a rookie year as a quarterback.
Yeah, I think he can definitely win a Super Bowl, and I think he will pretty soon. He's that good, and we haven't really seen anything like that since Mahomes. And even with Mahomes, he didn't start as a rookie. He had a whole year behind Alex Smith.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud had one of those rookie quarterback seasons that will keep future people jealous when they're trying to draft their quarterback. And he'll make even the owners and fans even more impatient as they wait for their quarterback to develop because of the absurd expectations with CJ Stroud having that kind of a season. Because it's just not very often that you can draft somebody from college that is going to come into the league and be one of the best, including the veterans, everybody. Like, it was literally like they drafted Josh Allen, and like, it's just crazy. Who is one spot above him? Brock Purdy. I think CJ Stroud had a better season than Brock Purdy. I'll take CJ Stroud over Brock. And Dak.
No,
in my opinion,
I don't know.
CJ Stroud should be at number 5.
Oh, Kyle already up there saying number 5. I like it.
He balled. He balled out.
He did.
And he only threw 5 picks. Everyone else on this list, Brock threw 12. Dak threw, how many did Dak throw? 11. Matthew Stafford, 11. Jared Goff, 12. Mahomes threw 15. 18, Josh Allen. Lamar with 8.
Nick is going to top you. He said he takes CJ at 3 overall.
Yeah, the only quarterback that had even remotely the same with as far as interceptions was Lamar at number 1, and he threw 8. CJ threw 5.
Yeah.
And he only played 15 games, and he still was over 4,000 yards. So the
Bears could have had him.
The Bears could have had him.
Whatever.
The Bears could have drafted him. It's okay.
Myself.
Justin Fields is going to become the next Patrick Mahomes.
No, he's not.
At number 9, Miami Dolphins.
Tua.
That gives it away totally.
Tua.
He had 4,823 passing yards. He almost had the first wide receiver in history to get 2,000 yards receiving in Tyreek Hill, but unfortunately some ankle injuries late in the season prevented it. But he was on pace for a lot of just kind of MVP type, things to add to his resume. But the way that it's just kind of like Dak, like the way that he played in the playoffs, the same freaking bubble screen that they ran over and over.
Yeah.
It was not a great game, and it was unfortunately probably the only other quarterback to play so poorly in the playoffs. We kind of forget about everything else that happened during the season. But Tua's statistics were incredible in the regular season, and they did have the most explosive offense, and he was the quarterback. So he just gets in at number 9. What do you think about Tua being at 9?
I guess if we're speaking numbers, like to have a receiver who was on the cusp of getting over 2,000 yards receiving, like it's pretty tough to do that as a quarterback. So just numbers wise, like it makes sense. Obviously this does seem to be a more stats driven type of top 10. But if we're talking about like, who am I taking Tua as one of the top 10 quarterbacks to start like a franchise? Probably not. I could probably think of 2 other ones, that are in that would probably be a better situation to start a franchise. Tua is a very, very good quarterback. If you asked me if I'd take him on the Bears over Justin Fields, even that one, I would be like, I don't know, maybe not. But I think Tua is a good quarterback. And I think with the talent that he has around him, that is what makes him even better. He might just be one of those guys that does take a 5-6 year type of season to really for him to really become and form into a QB1 actual,
And yeah, no, I totally agree. And I don't know if he will. But yeah, if he can just have at least the same type of season next year and play better in the playoffs, we could talk about it. But
yeah,
there's not a lot of hope right now. And it does seem like he's in year 4. So I think, did they pick up his 5th year option? I think they did. Or
I think they're still deciding whether or not they're going to.
So that'll be a big decision. But it does feel like Tua has maybe one more year to prove that he's worth $200 million or whatever the contract's going to be. So
yeah.
Before I say number 10, I'll give an honorable mention to 11 and 12 that almost cracked the top 10. Number 11 was Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
Baker Mayfield. He had 34 passing touchdowns, 4,700 passing yards. He did throw 12 picks, but he had a rushing touchdown. He did have 8 fumbles as well. But I think with Baker Mayfield just kind of getting thrown into a new team, being almost in the top 10 for all the quarterbacks is a huge win if you're the owner of Tampa.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another team that when they picked up Baker, they didn't know what Baker they were going to get. Were they going to get Thursday night, throw it, Hail Mary, win a game type of, Baker with the Rams, or were they going to get Carolina Panthers Baker Mayfield, who they traded midseason or cut midseason, whatever it was. So the fact that he was able to ball out and kind of prove that, hey, I'm still, one of the top, the number 1 overall pick from whatever draft it was. I'm still him. Like, I can still absolutely sling the ball, and he proved it in Tampa Bay.
Number 12, Jordan Love.
Yeah. Fuck.
Jordan Love. You were cool with it for a second. God, I think the person I bought this hoodie from, so I got this on eBay. This is the official Super Bowl from 1998. And I think they had a cap.
Oh, Kyle's about to die on live stream. I hope you guys are donating for his eventual medical fund.
It's like Cat in the Hat when he's on the ceiling and he's scratching, so his fur falls down. And the guy's like, is there a cat in here? I gotta. Okay. Yeah, Jordan Love. He had 37 passing touchdowns, 4,625 yards. He was a little bit of a mystery going into the season, but I think the Packers are going to look back at this season and they're going to not care that they lost, even though it was heartbreaking because they had the Niners and then Love just threw that last pick. And those are the things, though, that he's supposed to be out there to learn from. And very rarely is a first-year starting quarterback, even in that type of a game, to learn. So I think the experience is it's priceless, and I think everyone that is a Packer fan, or even people that just don't hate the Packers, were pleasantly surprised by Jordan Love, because the shoes were pretty big to come fill. And Brett Favre did it with Aaron Rodgers. It just seemed really unlikely that Jordan Love, it's like a lot of people, especially Colin Cowherd, was like, if he was special, they would have went with him years ago. Like, he was wrong.
And this is, that's what I mean. Yeah, 100%. And that's what I mean. Like, it does take these guys sometimes to like either sit or even while they're playing to be like, it's not going to be a 2-year thing like a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady. It might be a several year thing. That shit, like a Matthew Stafford, like even a Tannehill, had to go through 2 different teams to actually like be a very solid quarterback. He had his team number 1 in the division, number 1 in the conference for a couple of years in a row there. He was taking his team to the playoffs like 3-4 years in a row there with Tannehill. And this was way after his prime, right? Like nobody was paying attention to him. That's just how it might be, man. And it really is all dependent on the quarterback and the situation. But Jordan Love, I hate him. I hate the Packers. I hate him. I hate that he's good. I hate that he made it all the way to the divisional round. But you got to respect the talent, and you got to respect how, that he was able to do that, go all the way to the divisional round again in a year where nobody expected much from him.
Yeah. And Rick hates him. You heard it here first. Hate. H-A-T-E. Hate.
Could not agree more.
Number 10. I don't even know how he ended up here, and I almost feel dumb for the whole, honorable mentions to build up the suspense for number 10. I don't know why this guy's here. He only played 8 games of the season.
Joe Burrow.
Kirk Cousins.
That was my next one.
Kirk Cousins.
That's crazy.
Because of what he was on pace with. It's crazy. In 8 games, he did have 18 passing touchdowns. So he was on pace for almost 40 passing touchdowns. He only was on pace for 10 picks. The numbers are pretty good. He was on pace for around 4,700 yards passing. So that's probably why he ends up here. But Kirk Cousins, the injury, his future, there's a lot of question marks revolving around Kirk Cousins. But I guess this chart shows you that whoever does, whether it's the Vikings that re-sign him or somebody else, they should feel pretty good about Kirk Cousins. I mean, but they won't. And that's the weird thing, right? Like, just like Nick said, I'll take Tua over Russ. It's like, why do those have to be our options? That I feel like that's kind of how it was, either between that or Muhammad. Why the fuck would it be between that and Muhammad? Muhammad's the most common name in the world. Read a fucking book.
Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins is one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the league. Read a fucking stat sheet.
Yeah. But doesn't it feel like you kind of, these are the quarterbacks that if they're your quarterback, you kind of have to like go to bat for? Like, that doesn't, nobody's like, oh shit, Kirk Cousins, watch out. Even though he's like, he's better than decent, but he's less than elite. I don't even know what word that is. Above average.
Like the lowest part of above average. That's where he's at.
Yeah, or the lowest part of good.
Yeah. Or honestly, like, well, no, probably the middle of good. It sucks because you're right. Like, you don't feel amazing about a Kirk Cousins at quarterback. You just don't. You feel like, oh yeah, these guys are damn good. They're going to put up good numbers. You might make it to the playoffs. You might win your division with these guys. But when it comes to the playoffs, you're just not going to advance the Super Bowl with these guys. Something about it where you do not feel confident about a Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. Even like another example, probably Geno Smith in the Seahawks, right? Like, you don't feel confident Geno Smith's going to take you to the Super Bowl. You don't feel confident that Kirk Cousins is going to take you there, but Kirk Cousins is just numbers wise so fucking good. He gets yards, he gets touchdowns, like he makes plays happen, and he can win you games, in situations where you don't think you're going to win the game. It's just that when you get to the postseason, it's kind of like, look at what the Chiefs did. They fucking won the Super Bowl in an off year. So I don't think Kirk Cousins is at that level to do something like that.
Yeah, because in my opinion, it's not about getting there. I mean, that's what will keep you on an NFL roster. Yes. But if you want to make a fan base get an erection, then you have to be a winner in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson, right? There's probably teams that would be, he was the number one quarterback this season, and people still don't feel like the same way they feel about Mahomes, even though he has 2 MVPs. Why? Because in the postseason, he doesn't play his best football. Kirk Cousins has 1 playoff win in his career.
Yeah.
1. I mean, he's been in 5 playoff games. And he's a veteran quarterback. He has been around for a while. This is, what season is this?
Is this like his 12th or like 10th?
Oh, I guess they stopped doing that after year 15, year 2, rookie, year 2. Here it is. Oh, they didn't do it for Kirk Cousins. He's the only quarterback that doesn't.
For what?
For like, it says Baker Mayfield year 6, Tua year 4. Like, Kirk Cousins just says Minnesota Vikings quarterback. Damn, has he been around that long?
I'm trying to see here, like his career stats.
He probably came into the league around 2011, 12.
Because he was the Washington quarterback for a while there. Remember? You like that? You like that? Of course. After Robert Griffin III and all that.
He was drafted, I think, in the same draft as RG3.
2012. So he is, he's in year 12 coming up.
Okay, yeah, year 12, 1 playoff win. That's gonna glare a little bit more than any of the stats or wins.
He's coming up on year 13. And we got Jinja saying Lil Kirk is a corny ass human being, doesn't jive with the Ginge. And then he's like, "What's up, everybody?" I love it.
I hate Kirk Cousins.
Do you hate Kirk? You don't hate Kirk Cousins.
No, I told you guys last season I had a crush on him all last year.
That's true. He does have a boner for him. You're right.
Whenever he's like, I'm gonna call my dentist to get some grills. Like, he said that was the next step for him, and I was like, I love him.
And then he did the dance number on the NFL Honors Award show. Yeah, no, in the NFL Honors Award show. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, because he was like really embracing the dad energy.
Yeah, 100%. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. So, did you have anything else, Kyle?
No, that was I will say Joe Flacco came in at 13, which I'm like, he played 6 games, so I don't know. Yeah. But the Joe Burrow was at 16 and Trevor Lawrence was at 15. Herbert 17, Anthony Richardson 18, which is pretty good for only 4 games. Geno 19, Justin Fields 20, Russell Wilson 21. All right, so it is an upgrade, right? I mean,
and Russ and Justin weren't the most sacked quarterbacks this year, so that's also an upgrade. Unlike last season,
is he going to stay healthy? Because has he played a full season yet? He only played 13 games last year.
Yeah, he played 13 games. He missed 4, I believe, this year. So already on a bad kind of start to his career with missing that many games. So I don't know. Is he going to be a health risk? Possibly.
Is he going to hold on to the ball too long? Possibly.
More than possibly. Very probably. Very probably.
But you guys will do well with Russell Wilson. I think really the Bears are going to be happy with him. Russ, his numbers weren't bad.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. I'd rather keep Justin Fields at this point in their careers.
It's going to be a straight up trade.
Oh yeah, nothing else,
it's
just
not.
Russ.
We
and
can't
just-
even trade Russ. That's the thing. But yeah, those
Oh,
are
God.
your top quarterbacks